There Will Come Soft Rains. The short story by Ray Bradbury borrows inspiration from a poem by Sara Teasdale which bears the same title, There Will Come Soft Rains. And before I go on to say a few things about both the poem and the short story, I want to encourage you to pause the video, go find them and read them. They're easy to find online, easy to read, and definitely worth the experience. I also have videos for each of those works of literature if you prefer audio versions, but I want to really encourage you to go and read them first. And then, of course, go and view my videos too. There will be some spoilers in this video, so that's another reason for which you should pause the video, go find the poem and the story, read them right now. There is an important date mentioned in Bradbury's short story which we are fast approaching, and that is August 5th, 2026. This date is important because in the story it seems to be the day when the last trace of human existence collapses. Important to note too is the fact that the first atomic bomb that was used during war was dropped on August 6th of 1945 in Hiroshima. So August 5th, I think, is an allusion to what has already transcurred in this horror novel that is humanity. The short story is fascinating in multiple ways. First of all, there are no human characters. The reason? An implied nuclear war that has obliterated human existence. At least that's the most common interpretation of this story, but I think there is a glimmer of hope in this story which I will talk about towards the end of the video. In this nuclear aftermath, we get to see the charred silhouette of a family against the wall of a house, which mimics one of those horrific images that were the aftermath of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Published in 1950, this story is one of the first early works that center on this very real post-World War II fear, a fear that even today is latent and very much a possibility. And that fear is the annihilation of our species by our own hands. Now, let's recall that this short story uses the same title as the poem by Sara Teasdale, which also centers on this topic of human destruction. But Sara Teasdale was responding in response to the horrors of World War I, while Bradbury was writing in response to the added horrors of World War II. The difference is immense because Teasdale was writing when self-annihilation seemed a possibility, and Bradbury when it seemed not just a possibility but probable. And there are many who would argue that the probability of self-destruction is 100%. We just don't know when. For these reasons, the doomsday clock is getting closer and closer to midnight. 85 seconds to midnight is where we are at now. So who are the characters in the story? There is a house, yes. The house is the main character, but it's not just any house, it's a smart house, and it boggles me how extraordinary Bradbury was in predicting the future, because houses are becoming smart like he predicted in several of his short stories. There's also a dog that the house allows to come in the inside because it recognizes it as a pet's voice. In literature and art, dogs often feature as signs of loyalty and faithfulness, and the house seems to have this loyalty and faithfulness for her humans who are no longer there. At one point, the narrator describes the empty house's continuation of its automatic routines like this: "But the gods had gone away, and the ritual of the religion continued senselessly, uselessly." And obviously the idea of the ritual of the religion being senseless and useless is a little on the nose, but the poignant and interesting part to me is that the house itself seems to have lost its purpose and seems like it's having an existential crisis and a mental breakdown. At another instance, the narrator says, "Until this day, how well the house had kept its peace, how carefully it had inquired, 'Who goes there? What's the password?' And getting no answer from the only foxes and whining cats, it had shut up its windows and drawn shades in an old maidenly preoccupation with self-protection which bordered on a mechanical paranoia. It quivered at each sound, the house did. If a sparrow brushed the window, the shade snapped up. The bird, startled, flew off. No, not even a bird must touch their house. It's just extraordinary what Bradbury can do with language. I mean, when I write, I have a hard time making human characters seem human. And here we have a master of characterization making a house seem human. I mean, if you can find beauty in something like this, despite its dark subject matter, then I don't know what to say. It's an astonishing writing style which blends artistic expression, which is what makes it transcend across generations. To make beautiful art about something so tragic and horrific is just short of a miracle, in my opinion. There's also this beautiful scene in the nursery where the walls become aglow with all sorts of animals, and it ends with the line, "It was the children's hour." And the weight this line carries is heavy in our hands as readers, because this, the moment we have right now, is the children's hour. And if we, the adults and politicians, allow those nuclear bombs to fall, we'll be taking it away from them. We already had our youth and childhood, but the children, they haven't had it yet, and we must not take it from them. The house, through some freak accident, catches fire, and we get to see it as the last trace of human existence, desperately trying to save itself. But it was too late. And that is the dramatic question in the story. Is it too late to save ourselves? The only small glimmer of hope I see in the story is when the narrator says, "At night, the ruined city gave off a radioactive glow which could be seen for miles." The use of the passive voice, "could be seen," makes me ponder. Does this only mean that it could be seen? Were there anybody left to do the seeing? Is it just the animals and critters who can see it? Or does it mean that some places were spared and that a being with cognition, a human, could see the glow in the distance? It's a bleak world out there. Stay positive and contribute your small grain of sand to preserve the children's hour. If you'd like an extension of this topic, here are some works that I'd recommend. Cormac McCarthy's The Road, which won the 2007 Pulitzer Prize. I think it was the 2007 one. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. The first, second, and third Terminator movie, though I like the third one best. I actually think Terminator has a lot of good literary value, despite its mainstream sensationalism. In addition, it bridges the old fear of nuclear disaster with the now more than ever real fear of artificial intelligence. Also, check out the music videos for the song Land of Confusion by both the bands Genesis and Disturbed. Just to clarify, the original artist was the British band Genesis, but I personally like the Disturbed version better. And if you have any recommendations for me about this topic, drop them in the comment sections below. I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Thank you.